Welcome to ASSAT Analysts, the debate game show where the points definitely matter and we take things way too seriously. My name is Josh Johnson, and I'm joined here with my roommates, Nathaniel Jackson.
Yo.
And Kyle Jennis.
Howdy.
Stay tuned to find out who truly is the king of pulling random facts and arguments right out of their ass.
Welcome to this Monday's episode, our Parlay episode. Today we're going to be talking about the best party game. Can be a card game, video game, board game, whatever kind of game, a drinking game, whatever game you think is fun to play at a party. So, Kyle, what you got for us?
I picked Twister.
Interesting one. Bryce, what you got for us?
Yeah, I went with the Jackbox family tree of games.
That's a good one. Josh?
I went with Game of Things.
One I've never heard of. Interested to hear more about it. And I went with Secret Hitler, which is kind of a board / card game. Kind of a decent little hybrid between.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, the man who needs no introduction, but it's going to get one anyone, our special guest, Mr. Bryce Poole.
Good to be here. Glad to be here.
All right. So I'll go ahead and get us started. Secret Hitler. For those that don't know how Secret Hitler works, it is a role game. So all people that are a part of it, it's kind of like for those of you that have played Mafia or Werewolf or a game like that, a dealer will hand out role cards, and you can be... there are three options. There are liberals, fascists, and then Hitler. But there are two teams, two parties. There are the fascists and the liberals. Hitler, obviously, being the leader of the fascists. The goal of the game for Hitler is to either pass a certain number of fascist policies, which... does the number of fascist policies change that you have to pass depending on the number of players, or is it just...
No.
That's just the abilities.
The things that happen as you pass them change.
Yeah.
But the number is 6, I believe.
So both parties are trying to pass policies, and you will be electing people into government each turn and voting on that government. If the government passes, you will draw the president will draw 3 cards from a deck and get to look at them. And then
when does he elect the chancellor?
Well, that was during the voting.
Oh, that is? Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't explain that well. So, all right. First, the president goes around, and the president elects a chancellor. Everyone gets the opportunity to vote if they are okay with that chancellor being in party with that president. You can vote no. If the majority says no, then it moves on. The president goes to the next person, and they elect their chancellor. But if it passes, then the president will draw 3 cards and pass them on to the chancellor. And then the chancellor can the president draws 3, can discard 1, chooses 1 to discard. It can be the card is either fascist or liberal. So it can discard 1 and then give it to the 2 to the chancellor, and the chancellor can discard 1 and then plays the other. If they play a liberal policy, then a liberal policy passes. Great. If they play a fascist policy, then that passes, and the fascists are up or the liberals are up.
What's the end goal of the game for either
side? For the fascists, it is to pass all the policies, or to, once a certain number of policies have been passed, if Hitler is elected chancellor, then the fascists win. For the liberals, it's just to find and kill, vote off all the fascists, and or honestly, if they can just get if they can vote off Hitler, they win. Or if they pass all liberal policies before the fascists are able to, then they win.
Cool.
So my explanation may not be the best, but it is a very fun game. It does take a lot of thinking. There are a ton of strategies that you can implement.
Or lack thereove.
Yeah. Yes,
you
that
can play
happens
this game
quite a bit.
however you want.
You really can. A lot of my friends tend to hate playing with me because I am very experimental in the way that I play, and that I have an idea
You
and
can
go.
say that.
I haven't.
Experimental is a word.
It is a word, and I think it describes me well. I tend to have an idea that has not been done before and go, yeah, I'm going to do that because I'm going to see how this works out. Sometimes it's genius. And, I remember one specific time where I was just acted like, so I drew 3 cards and I said that the other guy was lying about the policies I handed him. I was the president, drew, discarded 1. The chancellor said that I gave him 2 fascists. I said, no, I gave you a liberal and a fascist. You just played the fascist one. Genuinely, I knew I gave him that, but I played it off as like, oh, I might have discarded the wrong card. And everyone around was like, that makes sense, actually. Okay, yeah, you're just an idiot. And I was able to get through, and I then knew who everyone was, and I went and won.
Was I there for that?
No, this was on one of our trips a couple summers ago.
Okay.
I think
It was genius.
from my experiences
kicked
playing the
butt.
game, my favorite strategy is kill Nathaniel first.
Yeah, because then everything just goes downhill from there.
Yeah, it always
The
just
game gets
it's
a lot more predictable.
regardless of what side you're on, it's just an effective strategy. At the very least, just to establish where everybody's standing.
Well, hey, if you vote me off, it's going to be a boring game. That's all I got to say.
So it'd be a board game.
Sure, Josh. All right, Josh, I actually want to hear about your card game. What do you got?
All right, so it's not actually a card game. It's similar in essence to it's called the Game of Things, and it's the rules of it and kind of what it is are very similar to Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples, if you guys have played those. So there's one prompt, and then the kind of difference goes from there. Instead of having cards in your hand of different responses that you can add to that prompt, you have a slip of paper where you write your answer down. So it's very open-ended. You can be as raunchy as you want to be. You can be clever. You can be, kind of sarcastic in your answer, whatever it is. But then there's also not one person that's judging which one is the best answer. It's everybody takes a turn trying to guess who it was that put forward each answer. And so if you were correctly guess who gave an answer to that prompt, then you get 1 point. And then if they make it through the entire round without being guessed, then they get a point. So there's a couple different ways that you can get points there, but you still get the same kind of hilarity of funny answers to kind of different prompts and things like that. But it's one of those that can kind of fit any table. Because, you can, whereas Cards Against Humanity really kind of sets you into that mindset of, okay, well, these are going to be a little, out there and maybe a little bit more raunchy. It's not necessarily a game that you'd want to play with your grandmother. This is, the Game of Things is a game where you could sit down at any kind of setting and play what is appropriate for that setting. And, I mean, honestly, sometimes it's just fun to hear what your grandmother says, what she just pulls out. Because it's oftentimes a lot raunchier than you think it's going to be. I mean, it could be, you could go that route and say that, or, it could be something clever. Like probably one of my favorite ones from playing was like, what is something that you don't want to find in your basement?
Kids.
It was something that you don't want to find in your attic. And my answer to it was your basement. And it was it's one of those, it doesn't quite make sense, but it's also like, okay, well, wait, so you go up to your attic and you're looking around and then all of a sudden you find that you're in your basement. What is that universe? What happened there?
That would really screw with me.
Well, and as soon as it was read out, I started laughing. So I definitely did not get points in that round, but it was just, and you can be kind of dumb and witty and clever like that, and have these kind of hilarious antics that come from that. But I think it's a fun game that matches kind of a similar feel to what are popular games that people are playing now, but has a lot more broad spectrum kind of play styles and settings that it could be played in. Yeah. And realistically, all you need to play it, they do have different, specific pieces of paper that you can write on and things like that. But really all you need is just pieces of paper and some kind of a prompt. And you could even make your own if you wanted to, where you just, everybody writes down like 3 prompts or something like that and put them in a hat, and then you pull those out. So it's the concept of the game is really what's key.
Yeah. All right, Bryce, tell us about Jackbox.
Yeah, so I want to agree with Josh in the sense of I think versatility is really important to a good party game because you never know what sort of crowd you might be entertaining and what might go over well with them and what might not. So I introduced to you the idea for the Jackbox party packs and all of their different varieties because they have this ability to be player sourced. There's so many that are based on the creativity of the players, so you can adapt it to play with your grandma or play with your friends who just want to write down jokes about dicks every time, which valid strategy.
Yep.
It works a lot of times.
Yep, it
And
does.
it also has more structured things like Press the Button, which is a social deception, secret Hitler-esque sort of game. So it might be a bit cheating because I feel like these games there's literally 30 of them if you go by the most liberal of estimates. So it's a wide variety of games that can fit every single person, every single crowd. And as long as you've got a good group of people who are creative and entertaining, it's a blast every time.
Would you be willing to narrow yourself? Because you basically did just say you picked roughly 30 games to represent your one game that you're able to bring to the table.
Sure.
Would you be willing to narrow that down to 1?
Or even at least like a pack, because I know the Jackbox games come in packs.
Okay, yeah. I could compromise to pack for sure.
Yeah, I think pack
Because that'll
is
have
fair.
like
Okay.
that has like normally
That's
the
like
packs have
4 or
like 4.
5
Yeah,
games.
which I
Yes.
guess is, you could also say Taboo or something like that, where it is like kind of 4 mini games in that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You also, I guess, could have selected Mario Party, which would be like 8 different games in one game.
It's
Oh,
like
God.
that's like 40 different games. Dude, there's so many mini games
I
in
got
Mario
bullied
Party.
so hard last time I played Mario Party.
If I had to pick, I think I would go with 6.
Yeah.
Which
think I
ones
would
are
go
in
with-
6?
So 6 has Press the Button, as I
Yep.
mentioned earlier. Role Models, which is one where you sort of assign different personality traits to all your friends based on which, member of which part of the human centipede they would be. That's a real one.
Oh no.
There's the sequel to the first Trivia Murder Party, which is just a basic trivia game with some fun twists on it.
That's a good
There's
one.
Joke Boat, which is just about like it's pretty freeform, open ended, just like write good jokes. There's a little bit of twists where you can like steal someone's setup and write a better punchline. And then there's Dictionarium, which is definitely the weakest part of the pack, in my opinion. But it's still a good one because you get to you create words and create new definitions for them and vote on the best ones, and you end up with a new word at the end of it. So I think 6 has a good mix of concrete. If you're not the creative type, you can do stuff like Trivia Murder Party or Press the Button. But it's also got the open-ended stuff like in Joke Boat. So I think I'm willing to narrow it down to specifically pack 6.
Yeah. Which pack has the monster dating party thing?
That's 4.
That's 4.
That's 4? Man,
When Josh.
By the way, I don't know all this off the top of my head. I'm looking at them. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
that's fine. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't pick one that had a quiplash in it.
Quiplash is a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic, but
Which is basically Game of Things.
Yeah, I feel like
Except
I've,
that
yeah.
instead of voting on them, you try to pick who it was that actually gave that prompt.
yeah.
Or gave the better answer, yeah.
Well, no.
No, that's fibbage, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
saying but Game of Things is basically Quiplash, except in Quiplash you vote on which answer was better.
Oh, okay, sorry.
In Game of Things, but it's that same of
Right.
here's a prompt, give an open answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those kinds of games. That's why I like
I really think you would like Game of Things.
we should try it sometime.
We should.
Yeah, thank you for the vote of confidence in our favor, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Kyle, tell us about Twister.
I mean, what else is there to tell? I mean, I feel like the reason I picked it is I feel like, well, I played it a lot as a kid. Like a lot of my friends had Twisters. So, when you go over for sleepovers, it's like, hey, let's play Twister, and it's really easy. You just you spin the what? What are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I genuinely don't know that I've played Twister more than twice in my life.
I mean, like, I don't know, man. I played
part
it
of
a
me is
lot.
laughing because you played Twister at sleepovers, which I have also played Twister at sleepovers.
I mean, yeah. Well, you played at like birthday
But
parties or whatever.
I
mean, like,
haven't. I
did it a-
haven't played Twister at a sleepover. I don't think
I
ever.
don't know.
I would be down to change that though.
Patreon episode, play Twister.
Date night with Bryce.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Honestly.
Oh, hey.
Like, yeah. Like it's pretty simple. It's basically you have one person spin a dial and it lands on a color, and then what either your foot or your hand you have to put down on that color. And it's basically how stable can I make myself while trying to move my limbs around and everything like that. I did pick it a lot because of part of nostalgia, and I liked it a lot. But I was also thinking, how can adults have fun with this? Like, you could turn Twister into kind of a drink game. Oh, there's notes being passed in class. So like every time, like in order of people who fall down, it's like take a drink or a sip or whatever. You could even do like a Twister tournament if you're on the competitive side. Who wins the ultimate Twister championship? I don't know. You could. There's some
Strip Twister.
Huh?
Strip Twister.
Yes.
Every time you
Like I said,
every
we
time you
played it
fall
at
over.
sleepovers.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That better be in the date.
I didn't say what age range.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So those are the big reasons why I picked it, because like, yes, it is an old classic for me especially, but like there's some more open-endedness you could do with it. And then it's just simple, it's fun, it gets everyone, well, for the most part, I think it would get a lot of people involved. It's like, oh man, it's Twister, let's play Twister. I don't know. I just thought it was so fun.
So, but it definitely is kind of one of those where, and I mean, each one of these games has kind of a different strategy and,
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
different. If you have kind of a different strength, you'd be better at that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Twister is one of those where it blatantly is like a physical thing where
Yeah.
if you're not as flexible, if you don't have as, as great a core strength or something like that, then it's not a very level playing field game.
I mean, that's fair.
So it's not something you could play with your grandma
No.
unless you were going to put her on permanent spinner duty.
Yo, have you seen Grandma on the Twister board? He goes crazy.
Yeah, she's fallen
Couple-
and she can't get up.
couple bowls of oatmeal and she's ready to play some Twister.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to be the first one to point out a major downside to one of the games listed. Jackbox, while being a great game, I can't tell you how many times me and my friends have gotten together to play it and someone's phone is dying and you just can't find a charger and their phone dies and they're just like, oh, well, I guess I just got to watch now. And you end up with 2 or 3 people watching while
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 of you are playing. Major bummer.
Also,
Fair critique.
you need an internet connection for it too.
You do well, or just cell service.
Yeah.
Which would be an internet connection,
Well,
not Wi-Fi, but
okay.
internet
Sure,
connection.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do need internet connection, and I mean the big difference with Game of Things, like I mentioned, was that really you could do it without having any. It's a concept that is so strong, and you don't actually need to purchase the game. I'm sure Hasbro and Parker Brothers would prefer that you purchase the game,
Right.
But you don't actually need to do that in order to play the game and to have fun with it.
You can just write out your own cards on like sticky
Exactly.
notes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. And then have, your own slips of paper where you write the prompts in and things like that. And you could play it relatively anywhere. Whereas all of these other games, you do need, for Secret Hitler, you need the actual game. You need the board. And you
actually
need things
not
like that.
true. You can go on the website and download all the pictures and everything onto paper and play it for free.
It's true.
You would still
Okay,
need an internet connection.
That's actually
to do
what we
that.
did for at least the first year that we started playing it as a friend group until finally someone just bit the bullet and bought it. But
Okay. And
Good old
I
times.
guess Twister, you could probably get away with something similar to that as long as you had enough butcher paper.
yeah, spray
but-
paint in grass and just
Yeah,
do a bunch of circles.
exactly.
That's so bad for your lawn. Didn't you used to work landscaping?
Yeah.
We don't talk about those days.
Yeah. Why do you think he doesn't work in landscaping anymore?
Spray painting circles in people's yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are there 4 and they're all different colors?
What are these kids doing on my lawn?
Yeah. Who are these people? What'd they do to our mailbox?
Oh no.
You turn the flag into a spinner.
I will
I was
say
gonna say yeah. Why is that?
I will say one downside I can see to the what is it? What's it called again? I'm sorry.
Game of Things.
Game
It
of
is
Things. Very
one
interesting.
of the simplest names.
Yeah, which is why it's forgettable.
Oh.
I feel like because you're writing things down and not playing from a card,
Hand cramps.
no. Hand cramps?
I don't know. You ever get tired like writing an essay?
Yeah, but you're not writing an essay. At most, you're writing a sentence.
I don't know. I was just throwing something out there, man.
I was gonna say like handwriting. My handwriting is very distinct. It is it would be very easy to tell which one I wrote.
Then write in block letters. Like you can get around the handwriting
Square,
thing.
just square writing.
Genuinely, that would be hard for me. It is hard for me to slow down and write.
Okay, but the other thing is that a decent amount of other people, and having played this game and looked at other people's handwritings, and I'm sure as much as you've substitute taught, people's handwriting in general is garbage. But if we're looking just at handwriting, we should have way more doctors than we currently do.
I have good handwriting.
Good for
Are you a doctor?
No, God no.
Then there you go.
I don't
That
have the
makes
patience
sense.
for school.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, I can also write in like 4 different handwriting styles, depending on my speed and how much I care to make it look nice. So, like, if you're actually, the handwriting is not as big of a deal as you might think it is.
That's a weird flex, Josh.
Yeah, well, I can also write ambidextrously because I spent like 6 months in a cast on my right hand. So,
Wow.
Ouch.
yeah, la-ti-da. I've actually, low-key, been working on writing upside down.
Oh.
Yeah. Work is slow sometimes.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of friends who, because they were servers and they would write their names on the tables, they had to learn to write upside down. So
Yeah.
It does come in handy.
That is legitimately impressive.
Oh yeah, it's impressive.
So
But,
I
Besides the point.
yeah. Point taken. So I would also like to say that I think that there's an issue with Game of Things in the sense of how much it relies on player creativity. Because I think that I've run into an issue sometimes with certain Jackbox games when I'm playing with a group of people who have many strengths in life. They're great people. They, I'm sure, can do so many things well, but be funny on command, unprompted, is not one of those things. And you run into issues where the lack of creative juices with your player base stunts the game, and it can make it not as fun, and you end up with just 1 or 2 people that is carrying the load in terms of entertainment value. So that's a little hole I would poke into that one.
Yeah, I tend to be very hit or miss. I either have something that's really funny or just a bunch of stuff that's like, really? Come on. That's all you got?
Another joke thing.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of it is that you don't have as much of a time limit, so you can be like it's not like Quiplash where there is like a direct timer where it's like you have 30 seconds to write something down, do it now. Or there's like a certain number of questions that you go through. So, and part of it is like, okay, well, a joke is made on maybe the first prompt. And because it is kind of more open and conversational and things like that, you do have where you can kind of play off of that. And in one of your answers, maybe a callback to something else that happened that people laughed at earlier. So I think you should hang out with more funny people. I understand.
Ouch.
I understand that is like that may be a concern, but it's also with it being so open-ended, and also the point is to try to say something that doesn't necessarily sound like you, because you're trying not to have the answer pegged back to you. So you're almost like forced to kind of think in someone else's voice a little bit, which can lend to the creative process and make it a little bit easier for people that are maybe not as outspoken or not as clever or witty to come up with something that could be that. And like you mentioned earlier, you could just rely on a dick joke like that. That you you could just put down an answer of something that, maybe you saw on, Cards Against Humanity or something like that. But it lends to the ability to kind of make your own answers, and you've got a little bit more time to think on that.
Yeah, I just think for me, that's a game where I definitely have to greatly be in the mood for it. Like, games like that where it's like, okay, I have to sit here, I have to think. I always find issue with games that don't necessarily have a hard set timer, because then you're sitting around waiting on the same one or two people who haven't been able to come up with anything good, and you start to lose interest a little bit and get distracted, and people start talking about other things, and attention gets drawn away from the game. And if there's one person who's just really not that into the game, it definitely drags down everybody. Everybody can kind of feel that. Now, and the same can be said for Secret Hitler and definitely Twister. But
it literally drags them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally, in just my experience, I've never not been in the mood to play a Secret Hitler game. And I know other people have definitely voiced that they don't want to play at times. So that's a fair criticism to, I think, both games. Jackbox definitely has the upper hand there as far as just, there's you realistically have 5 games. None of them take that long to play. I think Push the Button takes the longest, and it's maybe 15 20 minutes, depending on how long people are taking. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and with Game of Things, the goal is not necessarily the goal is not to be funny. That's a byproduct of it. The goal is to try to not have your answer pegged back to you. So even if you can't come up with the wittiest thing in the world, even if you just throw out a regular answer that would just make logical sense or be the simplest answer, it might not be pegged back to you, and so you can write that down. But
yeah. It's basically like a game of BS, like our BS episodes, pretty much.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, these are party games where the party itself does not necessarily revolve around this game. It is a way to get people interacting with each other and something to do as you're enjoying each other's company. So it's, if there is a little bit of, some sidetrackness or not like that, that's what I would say one of the drawbacks to Secret Hitler is that it is kind of, you have to be paying attention to what people are doing and you have to be really engaged with it, as opposed to just kind of a lighthearted, this is, kind of, you can be a little bit half in, and it still is a good time for everybody that's involved.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally just, every time I've played Secret Hitler, there's never been a problem. There's one singular person who there has been a problem with.
Name
that
him.
comes to mind, Will Fleming. Who everyone
under the
is
bus.
always super into it. Every time I've played, it's you don't have problems of people just being doing things off to the side. But I don't know. And that just might be the group that I, usually play with. Everyone loves it and everyone gets super into it. And if we start to feel like maybe one or two people is, kind of losing interest, usually it's about 15 games in and we move on to probably Jackbox. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think anyone's picking Twister. Sorry, but
Man, like I said, that was the first thing that came to my head. That was the first thing that came to my head, and I was like, "Yeah, I can defend this easy." And I kind of said all my points, but I don't know. It's like I said, I'm a big nostalgia guy, and I actually did play it a good bit with my brother when he was at home with me when I was stuck at home during quarantine. So
yeah, genuinely, depending on the group, Twister could win out for me.
Well, that's what I mean.
But it would have to be a very specific group.
I mean, right.
To
Chris is over here like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting with people that are familiar with yoga to play to see an actual full on competitive game of Twister.
Just yoga instructors playing
super
Twister.
flexible
Yeah,
people
just
that
they're very flexible. They've got really good core and arm strength.
Contortionists have body contortionists play Twister. Dude, I would watch
well,
that.
because it's not realistically it's not all about flexibility and how you can contort yourself, because depending on how many people are playing, you have a pretty good, chunk of the mat that you can reach across.
Yeah.
The problem is being able to hold yourself up for that amount of time. Because depending on where you are, you could basically be planking for 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Real contortionists have ridiculous core strength.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not, yeah. But
So-
I mean, that's why
Crazy.
I would say
I wouldn't
broader than contortionists, like yoga instructors or people that are experienced with doing yoga regularly who have that.
To any of
that
our
strength.
audience members who might know of any such professional twister tournaments, please send it to us.
Yeah.
I want to watch it.
Yeah. Twister tournaments are fire, bro.
Or if you're
Yeah, I
just
think, like the Olympic, like the Simone Biles team of gymnasts. To,
Yeah.
Like,
The U.S.
Yeah.
gymnastics team plays Twister. I would watch that video if that were a video.
I guarantee you a lot of people would
like-
watch that.
put like 5K on it each, so there's like they're really into it.
yeah.
I don't know. That's why
I'm a little surprised that nobody said like charades or Pictionary or any of those like
Yeah,
kind of
I-
classic party games.
I actually give the edge to you in that sense, Josh, of just like picking something that is very like simplistic and.
I mean, yeah, I think Josh's is the most classic when you think of just a party game. That is the most classic host
Yeah.
party game out of
Published
all
in
these options.
2002.
Wow.
Dang.
I was 4 or 5 years old.
Happy 20th.
Chris just held up a finger. Just a single finger.
Yeah. Chris is a baby.
Chris is a little baby. Little baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, yeah, okay. I feel like we've all gotten points out, so let's just
Yeah.
go around. Who wants to reward or abstain from rewarding points first?
You got it, Kyle.
What you got?
Oh my god. You always put me on the spot first.
Well,
because of-
you looked like you wanted to talk. You just had this like
yes.
this look in your
I
eyes.
looked
It was like, please pick me. Please pick me.
Oh my god. That's what it looked like? Okay.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Whether that was give me your point or that was pick me to go first, I don't know. But we
I
picked you to
was
go
just-
first.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're going first.
All right. I will give my point. You know what? I'm gonna give my point to Josh because. What? Well, here's the reason. I can get absolutely down with Cards Against Humanity. Like, if anyone throws that out, I'm like, yes, let's do it because I love being scuffed. I just love being like, I don't give an absolute shit. I'm gonna throw out just whatever cards. So, and that sounds like Cards Against Humanity, and I would love to try it. So, Josh gets my point.
I just don't enjoy games like that personally.
Well, so and that's I'm not making another point here, but it is kind of aside since because that's one of the problems with Cards Against Humanity is that you either have like kind of shit cards in your hand, or there's that one person that just has that one card that the person judging is going to pick no matter what.
Yeah.
That's going to win. It's like, that's just a funny card. Like, yeah, that's going to
Cards
be the
Against
automatic
Humanity
win.
is more know your judge.
And
not-
this
Right.
gets rid of that because it's more open ended, and you never have a shit card in your hand. You just
It's all about your
yeah,
brain. Yeah,
exactly. So
it gives you more creativity, and I kind of like that idea. So
yeah. While I do respect that, actually, I think Twister is probably a better game than I gave it when we initially started this conversation.
yeah.
I don't know that I would want to play it just at a regular party, but I do think that Kyle did a good job. He changed my perspective on it. Like the other ones, the Jackbox games and the
Secret Hitler.
and Secret Hitler, I think have kind of stayed kind of stagnant. And I think if I was to pick a game, I would still want it to be Game of Things. I think that'd be fun to play. I think we should play it. I think this would be a fun group to play it with. But I think I'm going to give my point to Kyle. Because I do think
Wow.
he moved the meter. It's not super high up there, but he's the only one that actually moved the meter in this conversation.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to give my point to Bryce because genuinely out of the 4 games, it's the only other game I would actually want to play. And I do realistically, like Bryce said it well, it is the game if you're the host that you can easily go to and know you can find something that appeals to the group. It is. Like if depending on the group you have, I when I lived in California, there was one of my good friends out there. She did not like any type of role-playing games where you had to deceive and lie to people. She couldn't stand it, would not play them. refused to. We play board games and card games all the time. Refused. But we play Jackbox occasionally, and she refused to play Push the Button, but we played other Jackbox games. So it definitely does a better job at being able to appeal to a wider group of people.
Well, I realize that I'm giving away the possibility of a 4-way tie here, but I am giving my point to Josh as well, because in the course of this conversation, that game started to actually sound pretty fun and like I would like to play it sooner rather than later. So for convincing me, that would be kind of fun actually. And I do think there is an element of criticism to be levied at Jackbox for the amount of equipment necessary. Like you have to drag the the PlayStation or the PC or whatever you have it on into the family room. You gotta make sure everyone's got a device that's charged. You gotta make sure everybody has the Wi-Fi password versus you pass around some pieces of paper and a pencil. So for the simplicity of it, for how good of a job you did at selling it, I'm gonna give it to Josh as well.
Man.
I really want to play that game with you because I feel like you're a creative, witty, kind of quick thinking kind of person.
It sounds fun. It legitimately sounds fun.
It sounds really cool.
Well, we'll have to play it when you're in town for the holidays.
I'll go ahead and add that to my date. And
Oh yeah. Does that game work with 2 people?
yeah, my date is just a dinner party.
Yeah. We're just gonna 1v1 game.
We
of
never said it
things.
couldn't be a group date.
That's
Oh,
true.
shoot.
That is true.
Ooh.
It's not.
All right.
I realize we're talking about the whole date thing with Bryce, and our audience doesn't know what we're talking about, but they will on Friday.
It's
All
called
right.
foreshadowing, Nathaniel.
All right, real quick, we'll go through the points. Josh is now at 11. I got no points, so I'm at 11 still. Dang it. Kyle got 1 point and is at 6, and the guest got 1 point and is at 5. So that's
guess.
All right. Well,
that's the month so far. That's October.
we're dressing Kyle up as a mermaid for sure.
Got the shell bra all set and everything, huh?
Oh, probably.
Oh yeah, the
I
tube
mean-
skirt.
Yeah.
All the way down to the ankles.
I'll work it. I'll work it.
Yeah. We'll cook the dinner. He'll serve it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But okay.
All right. Well, we will see you guys on Wednesday.
Bye.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Be sure to join us on the next episode where we will continue to debate as good friends do. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube and stay up to date on all things Asshat, and to participate in polls and activities throughout the week based on the themes of the upcoming episodes.
We also started a Patreon for those of you who are interested in showing your support in a more direct way. On our Patreon, we have a ton of bonus content, including tier lists, loser dinners, and bonus podcast episodes.
We want to continue making content that makes you think, smile, and especially laugh. And the best way that you guys can help us do that, leave a like or a comment, download and share all these episodes with your friends and family members who you think would enjoy our tomfoolery, our shenanigans, and all those other crazy words that encapsulate our content.